The Quick Snap is presented by FWF, dependable solutions for the pros since 1866.
Welcome to episode 6 of the Quick Snap podcast after a statement win by the New England Patriots over the rival Buffalo Bills.
Don't you just kind of want to bark after a win? Like,
I mean, I'm not a dog, but I don't know about how you felt, David, but
good.
It was one of those moments, and I haven't had a lot of these moments since I stopped playing, but I was watching the clips of like the warm-up, Sunday Night Football, they're kind of going back and forth. We see our boy Dev on there, they're doing highlights, but then they go to clips of warm-ups, and a night game in Buffalo under the lights, I was like, God, I wish I could be there right now.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those games, like the feel of the game, the importance of the game for the franchise, I felt like. The franchise, the quarterback, head coach, like everybody, just say the franchise. It loops everyone in. And, we saw them get better each week. And I think me and you both felt that, right? Mm-hmm. And they did it again. And it was a great win. I can't remember the last time I've stayed up being glued to a football game like that. It just, you couldn't look away. You didn't want to look away. It was good. And as a fan, we haven't had a lot of those moments where you're glued to the TV, going toe-to-toe with what you and I would probably say is arguably one of the better teams in football, if not the best.
I mean, last week you and I, Danny asked us, Super Bowl projections. We both said the Bills. Yeah. And I am not shy about saying Josh Allen, I think, is the best quarterback in the NFL. And he was lurking under the surface, but, they did a good job containing him. And the one thing that I loved, and we talked about this last week, we had Drake on, and Vrabel hit on it, like, they didn't shy away from the bright lights. Like, they embraced it. They said, this is what we want. We want everyone to be watching. And, safe to say, I don't want to say it's a coming out party, right? Because you don't want to put, this big crown on top of yourselves after 5 weeks of football. But to me, it was a statement win, and now they've shown everyone the standard that they have for themselves, and now it's all about living up to it.
I would say two things overall about the game in big picture. One, and we'll get into more of the specifics of the game, I don't think Buffalo played a great football game. No. Now, in saying that, we were talking about this. You see Buffalo get away with that a lot. And so your hats are off to the Pats because they took advantage of it for the most part. That doesn't mean the Patriots are perfect. We'll get into some of the stuff they can clean up. But just because the other team doesn't play good, you still got to take advantage of it. And they did that for the most part. And then two, this week coming up with the Saints, I think is a huge game for this team. Yeah. Because one, it's going to show a lot of maturity. It was a late game. I think I was talking to Zolak yesterday. They got home to the stadium at like 4:30, so that means you're not home to really 5 a.m. That's going to throw your week off. It was an emotional victory. You put a lot into it, and now you're going back on the road on a shorter week. So I'm interested to see what this team does on Sunday, and I think how they come out Sunday will tell you a lot about this football team, I believe. Because, look, it was a great win and all that, but if you go to hell in a handbasket for the next 3 weeks, it doesn't look that great.
Yeah, I think the big thing, like for me, because this is a new culture, they're establishing who they are. I mean, back in the day, when you and I were playing, you have a big win. Yeah, it was great, but it wasn't like people were throwing a party, right? It was on to the next week. And I think you've seen that from some of their leaders coming out and saying, look, this is just the beginning. Yeah. Milton Williams, I think, Danny, I sent you that screenshot of what he said. Like, we're not satisfied. Like, we got to keep going. And so that's a huge stepping point, is to get the big victory, but even more, like you said, the next week, how do you respond? But I think, getting into this game, and I hit on it before, Vrabel, like just embracing the fact that this is where everybody's going to be watching Sunday night. The whole league's watching. This is what we want. And they went in and with an edge and embraced that. And even, I don't know if anyone saw, but our own Danny Healy, the voice of the hype video
what are we doing here? I'm going to have to call
all the
new voice of the New England Patriots.
We're calling Stacy. I'm calling Alex, friends, like whoever's in charge of Patriots. Like, we can't get a audio grab from one of us hyping the game up. It's got to be producer Danny. I mean,
you boys aren't as veteran in the game as me.
Your life goals.
He's a crowd favorite, I guess.
Thanks to us.
And they're gonna like this new mic. How's the voice sound on this new mic, boys?
Good. I miss your
NASA, I like NASA.
aircraft control, Air Force control.
But in the game, defensively, coming away from the game, we'll get into Drake, and obviously what he's doing and Diggs and the offense is awesome. But defensively, watching the game, I watched a lot of it the other morning, and I had to keep reminding myself who they were playing. Like, this just isn't any other quarterback. Like, this is the best quarterback, I'd say, in the league. And, so I'm watching him, and I do think the defense was very disruptive. Barmore, I think, had like 7 pressures.
Yeah.
Like, he was in the backfield. Landry was in the backfield. They created turnovers. Marcus Jones was unreal. You're watching it, and you see him affecting Josh, but he's still making great plays out of it. And it's kind of like, all right, this is still the best quarterback in the league. And then another thing I would say defensively, which I thought was a huge key, and I don't know about you, Hoy, but I think Buffalo really took off. 1, obviously Josh Allen's play, but 2, they got the run game going. This Buffalo offense became a problem when James Cook got there. And James Cook took off. He's a top 5 running back in the league right now.
You're just saying that because he's from Georgia, or
he is a
do you
dog.
really believe that?
I mean, the stats tell you, the yards tell you.
It is.
So,
I mean,
and when you make that offense one-dimensional, sure, Josh Allen can beat you. Like,
with his legs or his arms.
Yeah, he can beat you. But I think when he was your leading rusher at, I think he had like 53 yards. That's a key. Like, you got to take away something.
Yeah.
And you're really not going to take the quarterback away every play. So make him one-dimensional and make Josh Allen try to beat you. And he couldn't do it at the end of the day. Now, he can do it, but it came out in the Patriots' favor. So I thought defensively, taking away James Cook was huge, because it just, how do you defend it with Josh, with him, the play action, the tight end? Like, Josh Allen's going to get his, and he did. But at the end of the day, it wasn't enough to beat us.
If we're going to talk defense, though, how good is Christian Gonzalez?
No, he's to me, I said this last year, I thought he's a top 3 corner in the league. And one reason that I really like him, and I don't know if this is just because I really love the guy that I'm going to compare him to, but to me, there's a lot of Steph Gilmore and Christian Gonzalez. And it's not just the soft-spokenness, it's the competitiveness. It's literally like you put him out there and you're like, all right, we're good there.
Yeah.
Like, nothing's going to happen. And the one thing I love about Christian, too, like, this dude, he'll come up and tackle you. Like, he's not afraid. He plays the position the right way. And they were missing him. Look, we talked about it. They were missing him the first few weeks, and it was actually a good acclimation process because they beat the Panthers so badly. They were able to play him
like 70.
Yeah, he played, and that was just because of the game. Like, even if he was healthy, you're probably taking him out. You know what I mean? So he had a good acclimation that week, and he's one of those guys that you put out there, and you're like, all right, we're good on that side, and now you can start to focus double coverage on other people, and I'm sure we'll start to see. You remember when Steph was here, we would play 1 double, and basically you put your second corner on their best receiver, but you double over the top with the safety.
And now put Steph on the second best guy.
And so, like, those 2 guys are eliminated.
Yeah.
Now, when you're playing the Buffalo Bills, they have great tight ends, which I would say their tight ends got the majority of their chunk plays. So it's always, okay, you could take away the outside with Christian Gonzalez, but now what are you going to do with the inside? And so you can be more creative with coverage when you have a guy like Gonzo out there. And I mean, other than Surtain, I think Gonzo, he'll be a perennial Pro Bowler, all-pro type guy for as long as he can stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, it was to me, if I was going to talk the negative on the defensive side of the ball, it was really the drive to me that, we get the interception, the Marcus Jones interception, which that was a great play to undercut that run.
Unbelievable play. I mean, I don't think we gave Marcus his due diligence when he had the returns.
Yeah.
Obviously, we talked about it, we hit on it, but he's an all-pro, Pro Bowl quality returner. But he's also, I think, in my opinion, he's one of the better nickel.
He's
DBs.
really good, and I thought even more impressive than the interception, Keon Coleman towers over Marcus Jones. He's not a big guy.
Yep.
That jump ball they threw to Coleman on the sideline, that was an unbelievable play to break.
He's
that
got
up.
hops.
Boy, that's your boy, Michigan State basketball.
He did transfer to Florida State, though.
No, I know, but he played basketball at Michigan State.
I know, he played both ways. I mean, you're talking about an elite jumper at receiver, and Marcus is obviously super athletic, and to me, what he did, I rewatched that play. He almost baited the throw. He kind of backed off, and I think he felt an in cut. And so for those people out there, when we were teaching receivers with Josh and how our receivers are being taught now, when you're running laterally across the field, you always want to come slightly back downhill, because what that does is it makes the DB who's trailing you either have to go through you or he won't be able to get the ball. But if you drift upfield, like away from the quarterback on a lateral in cut or under, a good DB will actually try to go underneath and undercut you to the ball. And that's what Marcus said. I mean, it was an incredible interception. He like fully extended, and it was a heater too. Like Josh Allen is throwing the piss out of the ball, and to catch that, it shows you his skill set as not only a defensive back. We've seen him in years past, maybe a little package on offense. So does Josh figure out a way? Maybe you bring him in, even if it's just what we would call splash the water. Marcus Jones is in the game. You're not really going to him, but the defense eyes are on him. Now you have something else somewhere else.
Yeah, and in saying that, the next drive, we get the ball on the 10-yard line. They go 90 yards, get the touchdown, which to me was the most important offensive drive of the game.
Yep.
I know the game-winning drive was everything, but that drive right there, making it 20-17 versus 16-17, huge. And then you got a chance right there to stop Buffalo after that drive and get the ball back. And a field goal puts the game out of reach to some ways, not out of reach, but a touchdown would.
Sure.
And then that next drive defensively, they go out there and you give Buffalo 30 yards in penalties. And that's not a team you can give 30 yards. And granted, they did get down there and hold them to a field goal, which is hats off to them on that, because then you're trying to get a touchdown on the last drive. But that right there, to me, just it was the rough in the passer, I believe, first.
Yeah, he crushed him.
And then the unnecessary roughness when Harold Landry makes a great play in the backfield. And look, I did notice, I was like, the whistle never blew. But it's one of those.
He was kind of making an attempt to get back up, even though he was down.
It's one of those things where Bill used to talk about, just go touch the guy.
Yeah.
He was obviously on his knees.
Yeah.
Touch him and the play's over. Because we would see guys, a guy fall in the open field and someone tries to smack him, they're going to throw the unnecessary roughness.
Right.
So you just got to touch him. That drive to me was one. And like I said, they bowed their neck and held him to a field goal, which saved the game. But that was one, if they scored a touchdown, you're like, dude, we just gave him 30 yards when we had him at 2nd and 15.
Yep.
That's tough. So, but overall, my hats was off to the defense. I thought they did a good job, like I said, eliminating Cook and causing a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, this is Josh Allen you're dealing with, and the offense, and to there was a few plays where like, there it is, there's Josh Allen for a 20-yard run. There's a big in cut that he's hitting to Dalton Kincaid or whatever, but they weathered the storm, they got enough, and they forced the turnovers, which really was a difference in the game.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just one of those things, you watch those plays and you have to remind yourself who that is, because like I was watching, I'm like, what we do, like him scrambling for he just gets around people. But no one else can do that, though.
No, and like you said, you got to Josh Allen is going to get his one way or the other, and so he accounts for over 300 yards of offense, but you get him to throw an interception, which he doesn't do very often. No. They have the miscue on the fumble with the exchange, and then you punch the ball out. Spillane with a great punch out. I mean, if they were able to turn that one into 7 as opposed to 3, I think you're feeling even more comfortable at the end of the game. But Spill with a good punch out, the defense coming up big when they had to.
Now it's only right to get in to the offense.
Yeah, I think we get right to it. The dependable player of the game.
I think this is going to be a hard one. Any guesses out there in the crowd?
On a coming out party, we got the FW Webb, dependable player of the game. At FW Webb, people and relationships come first, and you can always depend on FW Webb to find the right products and solutions for your next project, like my water bottle filler at my new house. Here's the player the Patriots counted on to bring home the win in a statement performance on Sunday Night Football, dueling Josh Allen, a guy that he's compared to, Drake Maye. 22 of 30, 273 yards, 101.1 passer rating, and most importantly, when they need him the most in the second half, 13 of 14, 184 yards, 6 for 6, and 90 yards in the fourth quarter.
I have a question for you, because this is what I see watching Drake sometimes. This dude gets better as the game goes on. So what is that? Is that just the flow of the game? I mean, look, we're all blown away by what he's doing right now. And we have to remember, what was it, Danny, was it 2 weeks ago actually made up a full 17 games, or was it last week? Like,
I don't know, Danny. He hadn't even a year ago today. I don't think he was starting for the Patriots yet.
No.
He started in week 6 last year.
Okay, so the week we're going into, so he hasn't started. I mean, I'm talking about 365 days. How many games now would that be? So week 6.
Yeah, just about. I mean, he's coming up on one full season.
And I was talking to Danny yesterday on the phone, and I said the one thing that I've seen in let's call it 365 days, he has made 3 years worth of progressions, in my opinion.
Yeah.
From where he was when he took his first start just a year ago today to where he is now. And to me, we saw it last year. I mean, it was his rookie year. He was thrown into a bad situation, but he wasn't a mistake repeater. Oh. He may make a mistake, and he made a lot of them as a rookie because he was out there learning, but he didn't repeat a lot of the same mistakes, and he's doing it more. I think one of the most impressive plays from the other night was they're trying to go down to get the field goal, and they give him like the reverse out, rollout pass. He understands the situation. He fights his way back to stay in bounds, doesn't throw the ball away, doesn't throw an incomplete pass.
He got out of, I forget who it was, but he got out of the sack.
Yeah.
That almost would have knocked you out of field goal, or it would have made it a lot scarier of a field goal.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, that play, to have the wherewithal to get out of the sack, get as much as you can, stay in bounds, and give the clock. Because if you make the field goal, that's one thing. But if they had missed that field goal, and Josh Allen only has to go, at the 42-yard line, and he only has to go 30 yards, 25 yards, that's scary.
Yeah, I mean, so the progression as the rapid pace that he's done it with, and I mean, that's a credit to him and his understanding of where he needed to get to, his work he put in the offseason. But also, I think, and we've talked about it, and I can't believe, I remember going back to when Josh was first hired, people were being critical of it. And I just knew in my mind, like, this is a great pairing for Drake.
I thought so, too. And, I mean, the highest compliment I could give somebody, I don't know if this is going to sound right, but me wanting to play again this year, he had a lot to do with that.
Dude, I literally moved my family across the country to play for Josh and Vegas.
I wasn't going to say Josh. I was saying Drake.
Let's talk about Drake.
Yeah, I'm talking about Drake.
Let's talk about the Messiah.
Yeah, I was talking about Drake. And then, obviously, once they hired Josh, I was like, oh, yes, like, offense, comfortable, like, yes. But Drake, in reality, was like, I want to play with this. I didn't get to play with him.
Sure.
And I believed in him, and he was... I don't know, when you're an O lineman, you don't get the ball. But I think what I'm trying to say is, hopefully now these pass catchers are seeing what Drake's doing.
Yeah.
And you're going to see the effect of like the Tom Brady type of effect where people are like, okay, I could go to so-and-so for this and come to the Patriots for this. I'm not just going to take that offer. Now it's
AJ Brown.
Now it's like, I'm coming to New England because this guy is the deal, and he's going to get me the ball, which is going to make me better, which is going to get me paid, which is hopefully we have success, all those factors.
I mean, let's be honest. The reason people came here was because they wanted to play with Tom Brady. I mean, let's just be honest. Danny Amendola, whoever you want, Randy Moss, whoever you want to name was the opportunity to play. And look, Drake's got a long way to go to get to that level. But to your point, he's a young quarterback who's proving it. And ultimately where it helps the team is the cap space. You don't have to pay this guy for another 2 years. So, it's in a similar way to like what the Commanders are doing with Jaden Daniels. They went out and traded for Debo. They went out and traded for Tunzel. Like, I'm not saying we could see some moves before the trade deadline. I don't know if they need to do that or not, but going into the next offseason, hey, we have cap space. We got a young quarterback who's proven it. These guys see we could do. People want to come play. On jobs large and small across 16 disciplines, FW Web has the selection, in-stock inventory, expertise, solutions, and people to get the job done right. For more than 150 years, FW Web has been the trusted partner for professionals across the Northeast, delivering what you need, when, and where you need it. Because at FW Web, they believe relationships, trust, and dependable service matter. FW Web, where every customer counts. I mean, this kind of goes hand in hand. We talk about dependable player. I just want to talk about some of the plays that made Drake dependable. And the one, obviously, that people have seen on repeat is the rollout, deep sideline throw to Diggs on the sideline. And you talk about building a relationship. That scramble move by Diggs to do that little loop-de-loop quickly, seeing Drake and Drake throwing it with the anticipation, that shows you the level of confidence he has. And we talked about it the week before, just on the back shoulder go route to the field. But now as he's moving and Diggs, we're seeing all over the field now. We're seeing short. We're seeing deep. We're seeing all of these ways. And this is a guy who, half jokingly, what did he say? Oh, I'm a 5 out of 10. I know the playbook. He knows the playbook.
Hopefully he's at 6 right now.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing that he's seeing with Josh knows how to move him around. Yeah. Josh is you're not just playing the F, the Z, or the X. And a lot's made about what's the slot. Well, the slot could be a lot of different guys. Mm-hmm. And so you're seeing Diggs get moved around and all over the place. So that was obviously a dependable play. But to me, the most impressive play is where Drake's getting drugged down and finds Diggs on the sideline. It could have ended the game and stays up. That's the Josh Allen type plays that we're looking at and trying to make those comparisons to. But Drake's his own person. And I said this last week, watching those two go head to head, you can see some similarities, but I think Drake is somewhere in between Josh and Justin Herbert, which the poor guy Justin Herbert has. The offensive line is just decimated. He's getting hit play after play. But when he has time, that's when you see Drake. Like when I see him throw to Hunter over the middle, he's got time. He's staying in the pocket, and he can just unleash it. And to me, I talked about this on my Twitter account, the confidence to throw a cover 2 hole shot to the field, to Booty. Look, it's one thing to throw those cover 2 hole shots to the boundary.
What's a hole shot? Can you tell us what a hole shot is?
Yeah, I thought you would know, Danny.
I know. I want the listeners to know.
So a hole shot is cover 2. When you play cover 2, you have 2 high safeties going high and wide. The corner's responsibility is the flat. So a lot of times he'll jam the outside receiver, and then he'll turn to the inside to play the flat. Now, in lower level football, those corners will just jam and they'll sit about 5 yards and wait for something. But in the NFL, these corners are savvy. If there's nothing really coming to them, they'll drift a little bit. And so on that play, we had a quick diagonal going towards the corner. So he jammed quickly, let the outside receiver go, which was Booty. And now Drake's trying to put it in the hole between the flat corner and the cover 2 high safety. And to do that to the field, you have to have the confidence to know what the coverage is pre-snap, and 2, the confidence in your arm to throw it in there, because as we saw, Booty's getting hit right after he catches it. But to me, that was such a huge play in the time frame of the game, and it just shows to me where Drake's confidence is right now.
We always said on 2-minute drives, you need a what?
You need an explosive play.
Yeah, you need a chunk.
You're going to have to hit a seam, an in cut, a go ball, because that's the only way you're going to score.
Yeah, with the time frame, which granted they had a little bit more time and you weren't trying to score a touchdown, but still, you can't throw 7 5-yard passes. It's just the time is not going to be there. So getting a chunk in that 2-minute drive after he makes a hero play is huge. I don't know if you saw it, Hoy, one of the more impressive throws that didn't do anything. He got flushed to his left, and Pop was coming back in the end zone. And I saw it. I was like, oh, my God, he's going to do it. And I watched it, and I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
And then you see it. I think it was Russo, who is.
It was just like a pinky
6'7". His arms are huge.
6'7".
Yeah, he
There we go, Bri.
Godly, I hate this job. His pinky or something grazed the ball.
Yeah.
He was gonna make that
because even
throw.
Collinsworth was like, "Oh, what happened to that one, Drake?" And then they went to this. He's like, "Oh, I got tipped."
Yeah, he was gonna make that.
He was gonna make that throw,
and that was gonna be a huge play.
The one thing that I see from Drake, and we saw a little bit last week as a guest, his personality starting to come out a little bit too, and the confidence coming with it, and even the most important thing, the guys around him. You know what I mean? And we heard it from Hunter last year, and you were around him a little bit, but just when Hunter Henry gives you a glowing review during the middle of your rookie season, I'm going to take it. And now Drake is coming into his own. We saw it with the little Cam Superman celebration. We saw it at the end of the game when they won. There's a little bit of that personality shining through, but I think ultimately what I love about him is just the humble confidence that he has and the kind of aw shucks mentality. And I mean, the sky's the limit for him. And I think, as I mentioned before, him having Josh in that room with him every day, going over situations, going over, reads and all of these things, he's soaking that up, and you're seeing it come to fruition on the field.
I would love to be, because like we've talked about, Josh has never coached a guy like this. I would love to be on a fly on the wall, listening to Josh after some of these plays he makes.
Oh,
because someone tweeted at me and was like, tell Tom he could never make that throw, as a joke. And I was thinking about it, I was like, I don't have Tom knows he can't do that. He could do a lot of other things, but
should have texted him, David. That would have been great.
I mean, he knows that.
How about him talking about Hunter Henry as the best tight end in Patriots history, right in front of Gronk?
Heck, Hunter plays a couple more years, he might get the record. What's Gronk's touchdown record?
We'll have to get back.
Hunter's 3 behind Coates, right?
It's a long way to go.
You think?
Yeah.
But Stefon Diggs, look, I can remember we did the first podcast and Danny was like, you guys really didn't talk about Diggs. And I don't know about you, but how I felt at the time was I'm not too impressed with the signing at the time. Not because of the player.
Because of his injury?
Because of the injury. He's 30 years old off of ACL. Not that he couldn't become good again. I just didn't think we were going to see it until like late October, November.
Sure.
Just
understandable coming off of that injury.
Yeah, 30, like what this guy has done.
Yeah.
I'm not that surprised in his play. Like he's a great player in this league. But in the situation with the injury, what he has done to me has been unbelievable. And, like, I know there was all the clips of him running and doing all this stuff, but it's a lot different when another grown man's hitting you and putting your hands on you, right?
Releases and all of that.
It's a lot different. So I was like, that's cool, that's good. I just had no idea that this dude was actually going to be this ready to go this early in the season. And I don't know if he went and saw a voodoo witch doctor. I needed her name and number.
Cardi B?
I don't know. Maybe it's Cardi B effect. I am so impressed.
Yeah,
not with his level of play because that is who he is. But coming off the injury is just unbelievable to me. And I think having his veteran leadership
role. That's what I was
going
to say, having him in the room.
Is huge because we haven't had that veteran leader in a receiver room in a while.
And you got a good wide receiver coach, Todd Downing, who's been an offensive coordinator, who actually worked with Steph when they were in Minnesota together for a brief stint. So he knows him. There was a great photo of them kind of embracing after the game, and you just had to feel good for Steph going back into a place where he was for a long time and having the type of game that he did. But what you said about bringing it to the receiver room, Booty's better this year. Yeah. And I know Pop Douglas hasn't got a lot, but on that one play to Steph, Pop busted his ass to get to block for him. And that was right before we talk about Josh McDaniels. How about the fake power toss back left? And I don't know if you remember we talked about the snow game last year. We knew Buffalo's linebackers were heavy reading the pulling guards, and so here it is. You get the pulling guard to go, the linebackers go, Bosa collapses, pitch it back out.
It might have scored for 100 yards.
Yeah, it would.
And also Mac Hollins on that play actually buried some deep.
Mac is a great. They have a really unique, really cool wide receiver room, and I'm excited for when Kyle Williams starts getting brought along. I mean, they don't need him right now, but I think at some point, as he gets more experience, you're going to see him involved as far as maybe being a shot type guy and get him going and using his explosiveness down the field. And, the tight ends have been solid. And look, credit to Vrabel, Mondre fumbles again, but then you lose Gibson on the kickoff return. And Vrabel has said it. Look, we need Mondre. Yeah. And we got to figure out this fumble thing. No one wants to see it, especially Danny and his friends, on their text group that we see.
I don't think he should be cut, and I props to Vrabel for sticking with his guys. And I wanted to say that earlier because, same thing with the kicker, right? He has that terrible first week, and he sticks with them, and he talks nicely about him in the press conference. So shout out to Vrabel and the coaching staff for installing confidence.
It is hard because, look, quarterbacks make mistakes and quarterbacks throw an interception, and if they go through a stint where you throw a few, if your stud quarterback is going through a little slump, do you say bench him because he throws a few? No. Now fumbling's a little bit different, right? Because it's like, oh man, how can he not fumble? Well, I don't know if Mondre needs to start holding the ball like Tiki Barber, or he needs to get Ivan Fears in there to give him a little pep talk about the 6 points of contact, but you don't want him thinking about it. That's the biggest thing.
It's it's almost like in your golf swing.
Yeah, Jonah. Yeah. Shout out Jonah.
Which me and Jonah had a little bet, and he said I had to call him daddy on the podcast because I didn't finish good today, so there's that. But
he's your daddy then?
Yeah, I guess so.
I was at the Jimmy Fun golf outing, and we started on hole 7, long drive, had to compete with Jonah.
He said you lied and didn't outdrive him.
No, on the first one, based on the TrackMan, I had a longer distance. Now I was over in the woods. He was in the fairway. So
it's hard to hit a golf ball from behind a tree, Brian.
It is. But distance-wise, I did win.
Brian sent us a video of how he's going to start manufacturing the rules of
That was from the USGA.
I know he's trying to get around all the rules.
Yeah, I
thought
just
that
can't
was an
wait
interesting rule.
It is an interesting
that
rule.
if you're
but
blocked
I
by
can't
a
wait to
tree
see
and you have to switch to go left-handed and your foot's on the cart path, you take relief. I just thought you should know that.
Yeah, I can't wait. Always going to have a wide open right-handed shot and be like, my foot, I got to swing it left.
He's going to bring that up in our big match at the end of the year.
Just use a foot wedge and get it over with.
Yeah.
Can I say something, though, before we, the thing that excites me the most as a fan, like from 2019 to now, I haven't been this excited for a football game. You could say the playoff game against the Bills, Mac Jones, his rookie season, we got blown out. That feeling lasted a quarter. But this is the most excitement I felt watching a football game. And it wasn't just the play on the field. Yes, that's fantastic. But it was like the aura of this team. It was Drake Maye's leadership. It's Stefon Diggs. And I love him in the locker room going on Instagram Live and getting all the boys in the video. It's just like, it's a different energy around this building. And it just feels really, really great. So the play on the field's great. Stefon Diggs getting 10 catches, back-to-back 100-yard games. But like, there's just a different feeling about this team.
I would say one thing about, you mentioned leadership and we talked about Drake and stuff. Look, you can lead in a lot of different ways, but first off, to be a leader, you have to do it with your play.
Yeah.
Like,
it's you could be a great leader in the locker room, but if you don't perform on the field, no one really, they're like, okay, great. Like, he's a good guy.
Yeah, and that's more of a locker room guy.
Yeah.
Which we've had a lot of those guys.
You need those too.
Yeah, you need those guys. But to be a true leader, you have to do it through your play.
Yep.
And guys like Diggs and Hunter and Drake right now are doing that.
Yep.
And so it really just.
When you could argue on the, Spillane.
Yeah,
Landry,
I was
Milt
just staying
Williams,
on the defense. Yeah, like they are doing it. And
Jalen Hawkins,
I think Hawk's
plays.
great.
He's playing great. Gonzalez is quiet, but he does it with his play.
I just think you're seeing the people you need to play their best play their best, and that's why you're having success.
I thought Vrabel had one of the most unique and intellectual comments this year. And I don't know if you remember him saying this. He said, we can all have different personalities, but we have to have the same mentality.
Yeah.
Like, how do you build a football team? And I think for a long time in New England, we had a lot of guys with very similar personalities and mentalities. And what you're seeing, I think what Danny's talking about, and I see this too, there's a lot of different personalities on this team, and Vrabel's okay with that as long as everybody has that same mentality. And so, could you imagine if any of our receivers had done Instagram Live after a big win in the locker room? That would have never happened. But
what is the Stefon Diggs, the little?
I don't know. I love that. What is that?
The little
I couldn't tell you, but it's just.
What does he do, or smell, or?
I don't know what it is, but it just speaks to they're having fun out there.
Yeah,
like, it's
and you have fun when you're having success,
and when you're
it's contagious.
Yeah,
it's contagious.
It is contagious.
If you're doing that and you're losing by 2 touchdowns, then you look at it and say this is the wrong attitude. But if you're doing it in the context of performing and winning, like you're saying, David, Stefon Diggs is a leader on this team because of his play on the field.
They cut to the clips of him on the sideline, and I was like, if he had one catch, and it kind of goes back to what I was hand in hand with what I'm saying. If he had one catch or 2 catches for 13 yards and was on the sideline, I'd been like, dude, get out of here.
Yeah,
but this dude's dominating games, and seeing that, that to me is huge for this football team because he's someone that's done it. He's probably had the most success out of anyone on that football team professionally and also from a team standpoint. How many of these guys have been to any AFC championship game? So his leadership has been such a big part, I think, for this football team right now.
And I think as you get older, your perspective grows as a player, right? And so, everyone wants to talk about Diggs and what his attitude was in Minnesota or what it was with him and Allen in Buffalo, and that's when he went to Houston. And I think as you get older and you handle adversity and you tear your ACL and now you're on this new team and you're going against your old team, and there's almost a gratitude, and you can see that with the way he plays. He is so happy and excited to be out there, and hopefully we get him on this show and be able to ask him about this. But I will tell you this, as a quarterback, you always want a receiver who wants the ball all the time, because you'd rather tone it down than have to ramp them up. And we've played with those guys before who they catch the ball one game and they go out and do their job and they're happy and they're content. You don't want that. I played with DeAndre Hopkins in Houston, and it didn't matter if they were triple teaming him. He still wanted the ball. And so you had to figure out a way to do that. And I've played with Devontae Adams in Vegas, and the same thing. He didn't care. Double covered, give me the ball. And so you want that attitude from your number one guy, which that's what Diggs is. And I think the cool thing that you're seeing, he understands he has a young quarterback that he's working with. and he's building him up by his play on the field. And now Drake is basically rewarding Diggs with the trust that he has in him and going to him in some of the biggest moments.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you look at the black eye of the night, I think losing Antonio is going to be huge on this football team. Because once Mondre fumbled, AG came in there. He was about that close for breaking that little toss they ran to him for a touchdown.
Yeah,
and I just think he provides a lot for the offense and the team. We saw him in Miami, what he did with the kickoff return. He's explosive with the ball in his hand. And I tweeted out, like the fans are going to see Trayvon Henderson more this game.
Yep.
And that's what I thought. And look, I was excited to see it too because it is hard when you're not in a rhythm playing. And look, the running backs don't play, 100 snaps a game. But, when he's only out there 20% of the time, you just don't get in a rhythm, I think. So I was excited to see what he can do. And I said this yesterday, when you have two backs like Mondre and Antonio Gibson, who I would say are their featured backs right now.
Yep.
Those guys are going to get a lot of the reps in practice. And I think so Trayvon's not getting, and I don't know this for a fact, I'm just speculating. If he's not getting a lot of reps on stuff he doesn't get to practice, I'm sure the coaches don't feel great about throwing him in.
Yeah,
he's
you have
young.
two veteran guys.
Versus when we had Brandon Bolden on the team. Brandon didn't play a lot of running back for us. Right, he was special teams a lot, maybe a couple gadgets here and there. But if something happened to James White, LeGarrette Blount, right, whoever it was, and you had to put BB in, you were okay with that. One, because he was dependable.
Yeah.
He was a veteran player at the time, and you knew he knew what he was supposed to do, even if he didn't rep it a lot during the week. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember Brandon Bolden being in a lot of our practices other than stuff that was designed for him.
Yeah.
But when he came in and you had to run a blitz pickup or you had to do something that he didn't normally do, he knew it because he'd been in the system.
Yeah.
So I wonder that with Trayvon. And I still just wonder right now, the lack of reps and things like that, if the game's moving just a hair too fast for him, like even the flea flicker. He was
very quick on it.
He was very quick, but he didn't even get his eyes around the block. He was nervous to throw the pitch back. And I don't know. I'm just, again, speculating. But you got to, on those flea flickers, you're not doing a flea flicker to throw a check down. It's a shot play.
Yep.
And so the linebackers are obviously coming in because the O-line's run blocking and the back just got handed the football. So you got to get around to be able to block. And he just didn't really do that. And then that's where the linebacker flushed Drake and
I think the biggest thing, like what you're definitely hitting on it, because BB was so reliable in all facets of his game. Now, he wasn't the guy that was out there starting, but when Brandon got his chance, whether that was here in New England or whether it was, a game back in Vegas when I was there with him, he was going to play well because he knew what to do. He knew how to do it. And he was sneaky like a freak athlete.
Oh, he's
And
scary.
so you could always rely on Brandon because, to your point, he'd been in the scheme for so long. Trayvon hasn't been in the scheme that long. And so his reps are going to go up in practice. So obviously, out of necessity now, we will see him more, especially with Mondre dealing with the fumbles. Mondre's still going to be out there, but Trayvon, out of necessity, will be playing more. And so
I think he's going to, like you said, he's going to get more reps.
He's going to get more reps and get more
in
experience.
Practice.
Exactly. So I think that's huge. And I think it's like every time he gets the ball, you're just waiting for one guy to miss and see the explosiveness. And so I'm sure there'll be ways that they'll come up with, try to get him the ball a little more in space. Even remember, we used to have just a little swing passes out of the backfield. Yeah. And if it was zone, we throw it to the back. If it was man, we throw it over here. Like, that would be a great way to basically an extension of the running game. So he's not having to run through, the tackles to get going, because I think once he gets out in the open field, he's a home run hitter.
Yeah. It just, I understand fans wanting to see him and Kyle Williams. I want to see him. I thought we were going to get a heavy dose of him Sunday night, and that wasn't the case. But like I said, hopefully with what's going on right now, he's going to get those reps in practice.
Before we move on to maybe talk about the offensive line, I know Danny sent this, and this is pretty incredible. And like we said, you got to manage expectations, right? Don't fuel the hype. But this is
I don't know.
I guess we're in
kept
the
saying
media
that,
now.
but it's not our job anymore.
All right, so this
Fuel
is
the
all right.
hype.
Let's hype this shit up then.
Screw the expectations.
Drake Maye, 4 straight games with 200-plus passing yards, 73.3 completion percentage, and 100-plus rating. Only one other quarterback in the history of the NFL has ever done this. You want to know who it is?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. So if we're going to fuel the hype, then hype this shit up because that's good company to be in. And I think, like I said before, the leap from where he was when he took his first start last year, 365 days ago this week, to where he is now is he's basically taken a 3-year leap in that amount of time, and I expect him to continue to grow. I mean, look, was Sunday night great? Yeah. Was it perfect? No. And so I think when you perform like that and have room for growth, there's a lot to be excited about.
This dude's something.
And I love his. I mean, to me, like
he's a great. That's what I'm saying.
Kind of like Josh Allen
right now, Da, about Drake. You feeling nicey?
Yeah,
I'm feeling nicey.
I just told you the reason. Not the only reason I love playing the game of football, but like he was the major factor.
He was
of me wanting to play football. Yeah. I wanted to play with him because when you believe in somebody, especially as an offensive lineman, it's. To me, it's the best position in sports because there's nothing like it. It's 5 guys working together, depending on each other, and you each got to do your job. And then there's nothing like the relationship you have with a quarterback because this dude is depending on you to protect him, right? And
he's touching you.
Well, I'm the only one that gets touched.
We're so close.
But it just there's nothing in sport like that.
Yeah.
Like. It's your job to protect this guy. It's your job to take care of him. Everyone cares about him. They don't give a shit about you. People don't love offensive linemen. I do think in New England, people like offensive linemen more because they're actual football fans.
Quarterbacks care about you.
Yeah, the quarterbacks do. But, like, I'm talking about, like, you don't play the game as an offensive lineman to be recognized.
Right. You'd rather not be recognized, which we're going to talk about Will Campbell here in a second.
My uncle, Dan Reeves, told me one day in Little League, he said, son, if they ever call your name, it's a bad thing. And it's
unless
true.
It's on draft day and you're the 4th overall pick.
Yeah, which I damn sure wasn't. So, hell, I would have paid someone to say my name.
I know.
But it's just there's nothing like playing offensive line. And saying that, all right, Will Campbell, I thought Will's played great the other night. I still think the running game to me right now, I think they've done pretty good job in pass pro, which I would have said would have been opposite.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I think we had J-Mac and me and him talked about this. The run game's a little bit different because in the pass game, I think it's easier. How should I say this to understand it?
I think this is...
You're working more solo in the pass game, right?
Right, and I think you can scheme up pass protection a little bit better to help yourself out than run game.
Yeah, and so in the run game, you make a lot of calls, right? And the defense is standing there. But then a linebacker runs through. He blitzes, they move, and you're moving forward. And sure, you made the right call, but now it might change and you're working with someone you weren't planning on working with. And I still see some of that, these guys struggling. Like I think the other day, there was what we would have called a slip block, which would have been either the left or right guard, but it was the left guard, Jared Wilson, and they were working to a linebacker. So it's Bradbury and Wilson working to the linebacker. The linebacker runs behind the D lineman. Jared Wilson doesn't see it.
Yeah.
Bradbury comes off on his linebacker, which Bradbury's an experienced player. He's played in the league, 5-6 years now. And he comes off on the linebacker, and Jared Wilson drops the D lineman to go get the linebacker because that was the call, and that's what he was supposed to do. But now the defense gets a vote, and they've changed, in a split second, and you got to lock on that guy. And that's just repetition and
I was going to
experience.
say, how long does that take? Like you and Shaq or you and Tooney who did it together?
I mean,
like you obviously probably weren't perfect the first year you guys played together either. So how long does that take? Because like what David's trying to explain is you get up to the line, okay, we're comboing to the will.
Yeah.
Well, now all of a sudden it's a cross dog blitz and it's on the run and you're having to, like, I remember I could literally remember like going to hand the ball off and hearing you guys be like, go, 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 go.
Yeah.
Like how long does that communication take to build and the trust to build to that way when stuff happens that you're not really expecting to get on the same page?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a time frame. I would have, in saying it, so Jared Wilson now, because he missed
a game
last week, or was it Pittsburgh?
Against Carolina, right?
Was it Carolina? Yeah, Ben Brown filled in Carolina.
Yep.
And So he's only had 5 real starts. He's never played guard. I don't remember him playing guard at Georgia. I think he was just a center. So that's different. So it's just and when I think about Joe Tooney, what was interesting about our line in the heyday, our 2 tackles were veteran. Joe, it was Nate and Marcus.
Yep.
And then inside, me and Shaq had a year playing together, and then you threw Joe in, and Joe obviously probably became top 5 guards in the league. But it's just that constant working together. We were able to do more drills with half line inside, and they've taken away.
You can't really do that anymore.
They can't do that, so they've taken away some of that stuff. But every team's working on the same playing field. But we used to do that stuff so much, and you used to get the feel together. So hopefully it's something that improves. Will Campbell, the one thing they threw a holding flag on him, and I watched it, and of course, one, it was on the Patriots, which I always think, some of the flags are ridiculous. But then 2, I'm an offensive lineman, and I hate holding calls. But that one was very, objectively looking at it, was very ticky-tacky. He really didn't grab the guy. But one thing I will say for fans is hard. When you're playing tackle, you're the most exposed on the offensive line, obviously. The umpire and the referee are right behind you. They're looking at you. And one thing you don't know, and if you're going to say a negative about having a quarterback with
you're
that,
not sure where he's going to be all the time.
You're not sure where he's going to be. And so Will's blocking the guy. He wasn't getting beat. He was doing a good job. And Drake rolls to the left.
Yeah.
And as a O-lineman, when you're engaged with somebody and
you're trying to be inside out.
Yeah, and you're holding him because you are with your hands inside, you're grabbing him. And that quarterback rolls to the left. Well, you don't know that, but that defender sees it, and he moves. Now you're like this, and they see that.
And then he goes to chase in your
even
hand.
if you let it go. And so, but I thought he had a great game. He's, to me, he's been worth every, I guess we paid him what a first rounder gets, but he's worth every bit that you've gotten out of him.
I think the attitude that he brings, and like we talk about leadership.
He killed, I think it was maybe nasty. Espinoza one play. That was awesome. I think they've done a good job up front. But I think for them to take the next step, I would like to see them get the running game going because you're going to need it. Even going back to what we talked about Josh Allen, they made him one-dimensional. Drake is playing unreal. But think about what this offense could be if you've got 125, 130, 140 yards of rushing.
Well, that's what the Carolina game was, right?
Exactly. And, look, I do think Buffalo's strength of that defense is the front.
Yep.
Those edge guys, the linebackers,
Oliver.
Taron Johnson. Oliver didn't play, but – yeah, I mean, Daquan Jones in the middle. Like, that front is the strength of that defense.
I know Danny wanted to ask about, like, pass protection and Josh, and I saw an interesting stat the other day. I don't have it with me, but basically starting from, like, 2016, 2017, the amount of chips and slams, which are basically either the running back or the tight end, hitting the defensive end on their way out so that gives the tackle help is almost doubled. And basically the Patriots started that with our 90s protection. And what you're seeing is, and I knew this would be the case, Josh is not going to put Will in a bad situation when it comes to pass protection as a young guy. So you're going to see, like, when we play Cleveland in a few weeks, I would be willing to bet that unless it's quick game, Myles Garrett's going to be getting hit on every play by a receiver, tight end, a running back.
Did that. I think I'll never forget. Like, I gave N'Keal Harry his flowers after the Browns in 21.
That's right.
Because he did a lot of that stuff, chipping, crack blocks, and he did a great job. Now, granted, N'Keal Harry, his play is one thing, but he was a big physical type of player, so he was able to do that. So, look, Josh and his protection schemes, to me, we have multiple protection schemes. There's everything, there's the two-jet, all the jet world. Well, that's just like a protection scheme in the Patriots system. Mm-hmm. Now, we don't use it all the time. It's more of a not gadget, but it's more of a mix-up, yeah. And Josh is – it used to be one of my favorite things during the week. I'd come in Thursday morning early, and I'd watch the blitz cut up. Now, some weeks, you're playing a four down front, and they bring the star or a linebacker, and it's kind of easy. You know what the answers are to that. I used to love to try to fix when we'd play some exotic blitz teams and try to fix the problems on my own. Yeah. just to see, because it was like a test.
See what was going to happen. Yeah.
It was a test for me. Like, all right, what if we do this? I'd write it all down. And then some days I would get in the protection meeting we would do with Josh, and I would be completely wrong, which was okay. And I'd be so interested to see how Josh came up to fix the problems. And, I think Josh has such a great feel of the game as a play caller from an offensive line perspective. One story about Josh real quick, which it doesn't really matter, but have you ever heard the Matt Light Pro Bowl story?
I've heard several Matt Light. Is this when they were getting their
no, he was trying to control the play calling with Josh. So Light's in the Pro Bowl, and, this is back when the Pro Bowl was the real game.
Yeah, you play tackle.
But, it wasn't that serious, but Matt isn't trying to, go all out. So he had, a system with Josh. One was a quick,
I've heard this.
One was quick pass,
Yeah.
2 was screen, 3 was draw. Josh was it was 3rd and 9, and he's like, quick pass. He's signaling, and Josh is like, we can't run 12 quick passes and 7 screens and 9 draws the whole game.
Yeah.
What do you? And I just think that's so. But Josh, in saying that, that's what Josh does for offensive linemen. He would get us in a rhythm, and then it just gets you in the flow of the game as an O lineman, and doesn't try to put you, hey, it's the first 3rd and 10. We're just gonna try to take a shot here. We're gonna get you in a rhythm. Yeah. We're gonna do stuff right, call the game the right way. So, I think he's done a great job. And obviously, like I said earlier, with Drake, when you got guys that make those plays, you don't draw those plays up. You just let those guys make them.
Yep.
I got a couple fan questions before we get out
All right,
of this
let's
game.
do it.
We talked about it a little bit during the game, but this is from Brad Son. Drake took at least 2 big-time shots. Is this kind of punishment a concern, or is Drake big enough kid where he can take it?
Look, we've seen this around the league with a lot of guys. I mean, Jaden Daniels just came back from having a week or 2 off because of a knee. There's a fine line between doing what you need to do and also protecting yourself. That's why I think Josh Allen's kind of the enigma, because he's the one guy who hasn't really been hurt yet, and he takes some shots. Now, I'd be willing to bet he's got maybe 15 to 25 pounds on Drake. I thought Drake is doing a better job this year figuring out how to protect himself.
Yeah.
You can see it. He slid. The one, he actually got an extra 15 yards because he slid, got hit up high. But unfortunately, it's a part of his game. And so it's one of those things you don't want to have it in his head where he can't be aggressive. But I think, look, the reality is, and you remember this, there was a sign in our training room and it said availability is greater than ability. Yeah. And so no matter how good Drake is, if he gets taken out of the game because he gets hurt, because he's putting himself out there, that's really going to hurt the team as well. And so we've seen Tom Brady talk about it with the evolution of quarterback play, and he goes, look, these guys are more physically prepared than I ever was because they've had a quarterback coach since they were in 6th grade. They've gone to 7-on-7s, they go to camps, they do all of those things. But a part of playing quarterback is the mental aspect of it too, how to process so you can avoid prolonging those plays if you don't have to. And so I think that's where I'll go back to having Josh in the room again. Josh realizes how important Drake is to this team, and so he's coaching him up on that. And Josh would rather have him go through the progression and get to read 3 and keep the chains moving than have Drake go out and scramble around and make a play, because 1, that's more efficient football, and 2, it puts him out of harm's way. And so that's going to be on Drake to make sure that he knows when the journey's done and also know the situation of the game. If it's 4th down and you got to do whatever you got to do, he's always said, I'm a big dude, go ahead and run somebody over. I love it. It's just got to make sure it's the right thing for the team.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard question for me to answer because of the nature of the position I played.
Right.
You guys don't get hit during the week.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Does it allow you more time to recover versus, on Wednesday I got to go?
Yeah.
I don't know. Does it...
I'll say that the one thing I should say this too, at quarterback, because you're never attacking, you're going to get hit regardless if you run the ball or not. You're going to throw the ball and get a hit. You're going to take a sack. You're going to accumulate those hits enough
one way or another
without even ever running the football.
Yeah.
And so now what happens is when you run the football, what do the defense want to do? They want to hurt you, because if they can knock you out of the game, that's and I'm talking about in a legal way, it benefits them. And so when you're back in the pocket, you're kind of protected now, right? Did anyone see the ridiculous roughing the passer that was called from the Saints on Jackson Dart?
I didn't see
he just got literally like forearmed in the back. It wasn't even a bad hit, and they threw a rough in the. So you're protected in the pocket. It doesn't mean you're not going to get hit.
Yeah.
But then you start accumulating more hits, and throughout a season, a 17-game season, those all add up.
Yeah, I don't want to see Drake Maye play scared.
No,
I love what he's doing right now, but at the same time, anyone, it's always in the back of your mind. But I would agree with you, Hoy. It was in the back of my mind when Tom Brady was standing in the pocket, like someone falls on him, whatever it may be.
Look, I mean, it's a physical game,
or messed up handoff.
All right, one more here from Nick Estico. No clue how to say that. What do you attribute the difference in New England to this year compared to last year? Roster or coaching?
I mean,
you were on the team last year, so you probably have the best insight.
Look, I would say best. I would say both.
Yeah,
both. You can't sit here and say, look, they are a more talented roster.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are a more experienced coach. Obviously, Mike's been a head coach. He's, Josh has coached for 24 years or whatever it's been in this organization.
Been a head coach twice.
Yeah, so and a lot of these other coaches, I guess the one thing I was worried about offensively was they hadn't worked together, a lot of these coaches. How was that going to work? It's working pretty good. We've seen Josh do different things, and so that relationship's been going well. So I think you have to attribute it to both. Like, we didn't have a Stefon Diggs last year.
Yep.
We,
didn't have a Will Campbell.
Didn't have Will Campbell. Didn't have Morgan Moses.
Didn't have Milton Williams. Didn't have Harold Landry.
Yeah, Barmore was dealing with his stuff last year. So it just
Drake was young.
Drake was young.
Was learning.
Like, there's a lot. I think it's both. I don't think you could say it's just a better roster. And look, this game is so weird because however this year happens, right? Let's say they go 10-7 and make the playoffs. Next year they could go 8-9 and miss the playoffs. And so then what is it? So it's just, football's a weird game, and it's more about what you do each week.
Right.
And I think the biggest thing I've seen from this team that I'm most excited about is I think they've gotten better week to week. And that is, we always said that's the race. Who can get, the game's going to be won from Monday to Saturday, right? And then what happens on Sunday happens. And hopefully we see this competitive stamina of this team this week and moving forward of like, you got to do it each week. And they got some young guys. It's going to start piling on, Will Campbell, Henderson, Wilson, a lot of these young guys. That's going to compound. The season compounds. It did to me. I know that. And so hopefully they can get that competitive stamina. Vrabel's talked a lot about this, his philosophy of like, got to be ready to go at the end of the year, different things they've done to try to be the best at the end of the year. And that's what they're trying to do. And I would say right now they're trending that way.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's both. I mean, the coaching staff, the experience that they have on the coaching staff, you talk about Vrabel, you talk about McDaniels, you talk about Doug Marrone. I mean, there's three guys who've all been head coaches.
Yeah.
And then I think the best thing they did was their strategy in the offseason was to sign defensive players and draft young offensive players to pair with Drake. And as we talked about earlier in the show, if the season continues in the direction they're trending, come next offseason, if they have cap space, now maybe you can go out and get a few more of those big free agents guys who look at it and say, man, this is a good destination to go to.
Yeah, and I think playing the look-ahead game and saying that, you've got you won't have – they've got a good foundation, I think. So it's really not like, hey, we got to go get – they had a huge influx of free agents. Hey, it's really we don't have to go do that. It's just like, hey, we need these three guys at these three positions. And that, to me, is where you really get good as a football team. speaking of looking ahead, I don't know if they make a big enough Brinks truck for what Drake Maye is going to get.
But dude, I mean,
oh my goodness,
you hopefully, and as we're talking about, he continues to
feel the hype, feel it. I'm all in.
That's what I'm saying. You want to pay him before Jaden Daniels gets paid because you don't want to be like these two. And if Caleb Williams, I mean, you want to do it earlier than as opposed to wait till later because the number's only going to go up. I mean,
what's the highest paid right now? Like 60 something.
These guys will be in the 70s. This draft class, yeah.
Golly,
Danny, what is it? Right? I think Dak's still the highest paid.
Yeah, Dak is the highest paid player with $60 million a year.
Yeah, so in 3 years or 2 years, right? There'll be a few more quarterback deals. Jaden Daniels and Drake Maye. And the jury's still out. I mean, isn't it kind of crazy that the two guys drafted after Caleb Williams are kind of considered like the best right now?
Caleb is not.
I'm just thinking about what I'd do with $60 million a year.
Is that more than your career earnings?
Double.
Do we want to look ahead to the Saints then?
Let's look ahead. I mean, you said in the beginning, though, David, like if you come out against what I would say is the worst team in football in the New Orleans Saints next week and, like, not lay an egg, but just, like, look flat. Like, that's not the spirit of a championship football team. So it's a big game on Sunday.
No, yeah. Like I said, going back on the road.
Yep.
Shorter week.
And it's not a short flight.
It's not a short flight. It's a sneaky long flight.
It is.
It's going to be warmer indoors.
And it's a 1 p.m. start, which
12
on – when you get there, you're like, all right, it's a 1 p.m. start. But then just in your mind, because it's a noon start, because it's Central Time, in your mind, you're like, man, I'm getting up at 6.
Yeah.
Or I'm 5. No, I guess
just
it would
changes
be 5.
your routine.
It does change your routine, even though I've always tried to do that when you go to like Central Time, just stay on East Coast time.
Yeah,
but it's still like when you're looking at the clock, it's like it doesn't feel right.
I just think this week, if they come out there like a can of kick ass, I'm going to be like, hell yeah. Whatever the score is.
Yep.
It could be 20-7.
Honestly, I want to see a Carolina Panthers type win.
That to me, I'm buying Super Bowl tickets. Feel the hype,
Danny. Look at Danny.
Feel the hype.
I'll be right there with you. I think to San Francisco.
Danny, this is why I sent that to you. I don't know if you could pull that up real quick. I want to make sure I get what Milton Williams said, because this is coming from a guy who just won the Super Bowl last year, so he knows exactly what it takes to get to that level. And to your point, like, there's not very many people that have had that success on the team, but when your best players say, okay, yep, it was a great victory, but we got to move on, like, that's the right attitude to have. You don't want to have this gigantic letdown after you just showed the whole country that you're back to, like,
you got it, Danny?
I got the quote here.
Go ahead.
The world's seen what we're capable of tonight. We got to show that shit every week now.
Every week.
Yeah, and I think, look, we talk about the standard, and I think this team hopefully has set the standard for themselves.
Yep.
And look, yes, does the standard have to come from the head coach? Yes, it has to come from the top down. But really, what makes the standard is the player.
Exactly.
And I think we've talked about it. Like, sure, Bill, like, I knew Bill was going to be upset with me or whatever. But it was like coming in the locker room and having to look at Tom or having to look at, Shaq, that I got Shaq picked. Like, that's what I cared more about than whatever Dante had to say, because everyone was getting their ass chewed by Dante on Monday. So it was more about, like, the accountability of, like, I didn't let my teammates down.
Sure.
And I think we're not around the team, but I think how I see this team right now, I think they've got some of that. And that's going to be the biggest thing moving forward, because like I read a quote one time from Joe Moore, who's one of the great offensive line coaches. He said it's the coach's job to set the standard. It's the players' job to hold each other accountable to it. So
those are the best teams, because the coaches have enough to worry about.
Yeah.
Game planning, handling the roster, how they're going to get people, all that stuff. If they have to go and enforce the culture too, then you'd be
They
good,
need to set where the culture, what it is, like the Vrabel's quote about personalities, one mentality. Yep. Like, that's setting the standard, but now the players got to hold each other. And it's just, I don't know, like, you never played for approval from your coach.
No, I think
you played from approval for each other.
I think the way they come out and play, because it is like one of those things you got, like you mentioned it, you get back late, your Monday's a little thrown off. Now Tuesday, you're trying to regain, your sleep, all of those things. And now you got to go on a longer trip, play a team that everybody, like Danny said, like,
it's probably not going to be a great environment.
Yeah,
it's not going to be Sunday night.
It's not when Drew Brees was playing there, and you knew it was going to be rocking, and you're gonna have to bring your own juice. Yeah. And I think when we sit here next Tuesday, and we do the show, we'll know a lot about where this team is.
I agree.
All right, David, we're going to switch it up this week for our legendary moment. We already talked about the locker room vibe after a big win. And so this week, legendary stories start with the light. Here's to 50 years of Miller time. Let's go back to some of your legendary moments in a post-game big win locker room. What comes to mind?
Well, I remember, so we lost the AFC Championship in 2015, but then we won it in 2016. And growing up, you see all the celebrate, especially baseball and basketball. Yeah. They're in there with like champagne in the locker room. And maybe other teams do that, not like that for the pay. It was just business as usual. So it might be a little shocking, but mine isn't going to be the Super Bowl because also the Super Bowl post is chaos. You don't even go back. I mean, you're not in the locker room with anybody after the game anyways. And there's so many people in there, you have no idea. Like, hearing Tom Brady's jersey got stolen, I was like, well, that's not that surprising. It's just chaos. So for me, I think about one that just was really cool for a lot of reasons. I'm going to go 2015, week 1 versus Steelers. It was the banner drop, which it was made very clear to me that year that I didn't do shit to earn that. Obviously, I wasn't on the team, but that was just classic New England, but it was my first start in the NFL. At the time of that career, I didn't know how many of those opportunities I was going to get. And Bill, it's known he said no days off, and he meant that a lot of times. And so you get Memorial Day off, or not Memorial Day, Labor Day off now in the NFL. We played that first week. We never got that off, and it was such a grind.
Because you would be playing on Thursday nights.
But even if you did it, you wouldn't get it a lot of times with Bill. Like, you might get a day or two. Like, I worked a lot of Labor Days. And so until they put it in the CBA. So that training camp was such a grind for me. It was hard. Played a lot in the preseason. So we win the game. It was a great win. I was so excited. And I'll never forget, my wife was there. Hadn't seen her much. And, I was like, hey, like, I'm going to have to work all day Friday. Like, I'll get to see you Saturday and Sunday, but Friday I'll be gone. And I'll never forget, we win the game, and I believe it was Slate pulled us in. For those that don't know, our locker room and weight room are attached, and we have this little turf area where you can do drills, warm up, whatever. He pulled us all in there, and Slate was like, look, fellas, we need everyone to be safe. We got a long road ahead of us. And he's like, Bill's giving us the weekend off. Be safe, do it. And we exploded. The team went nuts. And there was no beer, no champagne. It was week 1. But it just, I don't know, it was such a cool experience because you were a part of the team. It was the first win. And for me, I was begging for a break. And so to get Friday off, I look back at that weekend. It was really my first time being out in Boston and Providence. And I really didn't know what I was doing. I think Friday night, me and my wife went to the Providence Mall, went to Melting Pot in the mall.
I remember that.
I mean, Danny, you'll shake your head. I had no idea where to go.
That ain't the spot, David.
No, I'm not saying it's the spot.
To prep school, and like that was I thought that was a really cool spot.
You brought a kid from Georgia. I had no idea where to go.
Go to Southie. Go to the bars.
I didn't know where to go. And then on Saturday, Georgia was playing South Carolina. It used to be called Jerry Remy's. It's like that. Danny, you probably know what I'm talking about.
I don't, but in the studio they do.
Okay, yeah, I went there. I was like, I got beer.
Imagine a young David. We saw last week when he was talking about his press conference when he's like, I'm not a doctor. How I remember thinking when I watched that video how young you.
Yeah. So we went there. I think my wife put on Facebook, hey, is there anywhere in Boston to watch the Georgia game? Some people responded. Someone was like, come to Cleary's in the Back Bay, South End area. We go to Cleary's. The basement in Cleary's is Georgia alumni.
Oh, nice.
And it's sick. They do like boiled peanuts. They have like specialty cocktails. there's like they got the pom-poms, all this stuff. So we watched the Georgia game down there, met a lot of people. We've been back plenty of times to Cleary's to watch games. And
so your legendary moment includes the whole weekend.
It just is a whole weekend because of the situation. And I don't know, it was a great weekend. My kind of like first time going out in Boston a little bit, and just, I don't know, I really enjoyed it. And it was great looking forward of what my career would be, I guess.
I'm going to dip back into this well. I'm going to go 2018 AFC Championship game. One, because didn't we do like the trophy presentation in the locker room?
Yeah, and that's such a small locker room.
And it was like such a small locker room, just hanging on each other. And you didn't have, like you mentioned it, like the Super Bowl, like to me, that was, when we beat the Rams, that was the first Super Bowl out of the 3 that I went to that we won. And so, yeah, I was excited. We were celebrating on the field, but I was looking for my family. I wanted to share it with them. And that 2018 AFC Championship game was so unique because it was just us. And it was just us.
I
in the
agree.
locker room.
I thought about doing that, but I wanted to do
individually for me, and not many people here are going to care about this, but before you guys won a comeback 28-3, I did individually and with my team with the Cleveland Browns. And for me, that was an incredible moment. And I remember I had to do like the on-field interview after the game. So I remember coming back to the game, or coming back to the locker room, and the party had already started, but they were waiting for me, and I came in, and there was water being thrown. I mean, that was, those are the moments you'll never forget for the rest of your life. So,
I know it's something though that just hits different about like an away game, because on Sunday
night, I mean,
you have no rush to like get to, like, it's just you and the guys.
Yeah, like, when you play a home game, right? After the game, people have some people's wives and families don't live with them where they play.
Right, so they're there for the weekend.
They could be there for the weekend. So like, guys want to go see them, or guys have family and all these different things at the home games, where it's not just like, oh, yeah, like, I got to leave. Like, you don't get to see your family that much because Saturday mornings you work. Saturday nights you're at the hotel. So you're not around those people. They came to see you. Sunday, 1 o'clock, game ends at 4. Like, 4:30 to, I don't know, whenever the night ends is the time you get to spend with people.
Yeah.
So the away games, though, when it's just you, then you got to flight back together.
Yep.
You're laughing about stuff about what happened in the game, making fun of each other about stuff that happened. It's the away game wins to me are better. Now, in saying that, the fact that we haven't won at home recently is very tough.
I do remember a home game, I think in that 2018 season, where, remember we had lost a few games at the end and we needed someone else to lose to get a first round bye. And remember, we all went in the locker room. We won a game against either Buffalo or New York at the end of that season. And we came in, and the game that was
in the equipment room?
In the equipment. We had, our equipment room, we have a big locker room. Equipment room's big, but not for probably 40 guys in there watching the game. And I feel like someone missed a field goal. And with that, we knew we were going to get a first round bye. And so that's definitely a memorable.
18, we didn't have the first round.
That's right, memorable moment. So it was, it's just things like that you remember the most.
Yeah. Miller Lite just isn't any light beer. It's the original light beer. And when Miller Lite arrived 50 years ago, time became Miller time. And fun nights became stories worth telling. Miller Lite, celebrating 5 decades of legendary moments, because legendary stories start with a light. All good nights start with a light.
All right, David, a little bit around the league. I mean, we're getting further into the season. As of right now, the Patriots are in the playoffs.
I was about to say, Pats are in the playoffs, probably home field advantage.
A little early to get that started, but what did you see? I mean, I know we were texting group message, like Detroit. People were a little worried about them after week 1.
I was.
Man, they are just...
Wagon.
Whew.
Wagon.
So good. Jared Goff, ownership over that offense.
I'm also retracting my Chargers pick.
I know. The offensive line. It just goes to show you mentioned before, you don't play offensive line for glory, but when you don't have one, it's hurt. Because the first few weeks of the season, they looked tremendous. Now they lost Alt. They lost Mekhi Becton. Slater's out for the year. I mean, Hampton's on IR. They lost Najee Harris. They are falling like flies.
Yeah, Goff and the Lions, hats off to Dan Campbell, because we talked about losing, Ben Johnson and a lot of the defensive staff. Like, that's hard.
But that, to me, like what we just talked about with the Patriots, that's a reflection of the players they have there. They have a lot of returning guys, and that's what I said. Like, if they want to be the team that takes the next step and gets to a Super Bowl, the players were going to have to kind of bring the coaches along, so to speak, right? You bring in Kelvin Shepard, guys that have been there. John Morton, I know he had spent the year, I think, in Denver, but had been in Detroit before. Like, let your veteran guys bring the coaches along until you get your feet underneath you, and they've been able to do that.
Two things. I'm all in on the Bucks.
Me too.
I love watching.
Did you see Gronk try to say Egbuka's name?
Which I'm not going to make fun of him because don't make me.
Go ahead, David, say it.
No.
I'm going to pat myself on the back, and since we're here at NBC Sports Boston, me and our boy Tom Kern and Phil Perry, we did a pre-draft wide receiver show because we were thinking the Pats might draft a receiver, and I was all in on Egbuka. I said, this is the most pro-ready receiver that I've seen in years, and this guy is an absolute stud.
Yeah, he's really good. I like the Bucks right now. I think Jacksonville's interesting.
Yeah, beats the Chiefs last night.
I beat the Chiefs.
On a unique touchdown run by Trevor Lawrence.
But, I like what Jacksonville's doing, and look, whatever their coach is doing, they're buying in right now. I don't think they are a great football team, but, hey, they're 4-1, and that's all that matters.
And we're talking about the Patriots and hyping them up. What really helps them is some of the teams that have been beasts in the AFC are not doing so well.
No,
right
Baltimore,
Kansas City.
I saw a stat. Baltimore, I was watching some of that game. They have $160 million of the salary cap that's not playing right now.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
So we talked about it. Availability is greater than ability. If you can't be out there, then you can't help the team. And look, it doesn't get any easier for the Ravens. They play the Rams this week. And the Rams, Matt Stafford is leading the NFL in passing yards. Honestly, this may be the best I've ever seen Stafford play. And our boy Mac Jones beat him on Thursday night. Danny wasn't happy. Not a Mac Jones fan. But
what's your problem? What's your problem with Matt?
My problem with Mac Jones, just the way he left New England, treated the Patriots fans,
He got kicked out of New England. What do you mean the way he left New England?
Yeah, he should have. Just like he didn't bring the leadership that you see Drake bring to the podium. I can imagine the locker room. David, you were there. I
agree with you, Danny, but I think, and Hoyer talked about Diggs and maturity.
Yeah.
And, I feel like the way Max handled himself, hopefully he's learned. And I think he has.
He has.
And look,
I'll say this.
What you
Did
want.
you see what Saban said?
Yeah.
And a lot of people raised their eyebrows because Saban basically took a shot at the Patriots and Bill, how he was treated and how he was brought up here. And I'll say this, and Danny, you say that my emotions are in it. I would say this to Mac's face. He was immature, and he was put in a situation that was not beneficial for him or the entire team, and he did not handle it well, and that was his downfall. And to your point, then he went to Jacksonville, which was a shit situation. Now he goes to a situation where Kyle is a very good coach.
And it's been noted Kyle wanted him coming out of the draft, right?
Our boy Ryan Clark even said, imagine if they had drafted him instead of Trey Lance, because there was a big rumor that when they made that trade, it was for Mac Jones. And so we could be sitting here right now, and Mac could have been in San Francisco for the past 5 years under Kyle. I think Mac's rookie year, having Josh was a blessing and a curse. Much like we've talked about with Drake Maye, what Josh brings to him. Josh taught Mac so much about offensive football his rookie year. And I'll say this, Mac is as good of a cerebral quarterback that I've ever been around. He was doing things as a rookie as far as mic protections, alerts, all of those things that I didn't feel comfortable doing until my third year. His greatest asset is his mind, and he's been able to do that, and he gets the ball out quick, and he's been successful, and he's shown some grit. I know you want to mock him for getting tossed around all Thursday night and getting back up, but he got back up, and he came up with some big plays when he needed it, and I love to see KB and that connection for those guys out there. But the reality is, he's been put in a situation. The Niners are down all of their best players. They've been lucky to have McCaffrey out there, and he's done it. And so
he's earning himself some money.
He's going to. Look, Darnold went there and didn't even
signing Mac Jones. I don't think any football team that takes them seriously that wants to win.
You don't think
games.
There's some teams out there that would rather have Mac Jones?
What's a backup make? He's going to.
I'm not talking as a backup. I'm talking as a starter.
If he plays 2 more games like that and doesn't play again, there will be a team that will sign him to be
I'm not saying he's getting the 60 million.
He's not going to get 60 million, but he could probably get 30.
Like a Baker-ish.
That team will be a top 5 draft pick in next year's NFL draft.
All right, we'll see. Since you're so knowledgeable in football,
I mean, Mac Jones is not a good quarterback.
You're just letting your emotions take control of you, which I understand. You were probably hyped like you were for Drake Maye after Mac's rookie year.
Rookie year for sure. But
I'm sure he cost you plenty of money on betting and
if you guys wanted
all that stuff.
Screenshot of what is going on in the group text, you just got it. This is all I deal with all day. I
just think, look, I don't disagree with you. He performed poorly in his last 2 seasons with the Patriots. He is not performing poorly right now, and you have to give credit where credit is due because all that matters is what you've done lately, and that's what he's done.
Happy for the guy who won 3 games. He is a very hard guy to root
Hey, the
for.
Patriots have won 3 games too, and you seem ecstatic. So
we have the Messiah on our team.
Oh
Super Bowl.
my God.
Football
Drake, don't break
I
his
got some
heart.
news for you guys.
Drake,
Football
do not
Jesus.
break Danny's heart because he will hold a grudge for life.
Every sports fan listening to this show will do the exact same thing. But we're recording this on Tuesday, so some news here for you guys as we're talking around the league. Joe Flacco has been traded to the Cincinnati Bengals with a 6th-round pick, and the Bengals will send the Browns a 5th round.
Man, a cross-division rival trade. They're both, I mean, it doesn't matter.
I mean, if Burrow's going to come back for the playoffs, so if Flacco can get them some
It's a much better team than what he's playing with in Cleveland, so it's definitely a possibility.
What's Cincy's record right now? 2-3?
Yeah, 2-3.
That's not bad.
It's not terrible. It can be salvageable. I don't think it's a great division right now. I mean,
it's not with the Ravens. I mean, the Ravens are 1-5. I'd be interested to see if there's ever like the percentage of making the playoffs after you start 1-5,
which is interesting. The Ravens, a lot of talk about what's his Harbaugh on the hot seat now.
On the hot seat, I know. Well, this is the worst defense. I think the stat is in 5 games they've let up 37 points or more 4 times. That is most all time, like in a season.
Which is
16 games.
That's what I was just saying. They're playing against Stafford
staple
this week, who's leading the league in passing yards, and they're the 31st passing defense in the league. So
it's interesting. I think there's some really, and I think you're seeing it all across football now, even in college. Just the parity of the game, and Denver goes to Philly and beats them, and you got the Patriots. I mean, look, did I think the Patriots had a shot? Yeah. Am I putting a lot of money on the Patriots to win that game Sunday night? No, but I thought if they did what we thought they could do, they would be in it, and they were. They capitalized it, but it's to me, this is what makes the NFL so great. Is just it's right now. I mean, what team are you really? Detroit.
Detroit, to me, I feel like because they did it last year and now they've shown that through losing those coaches, they're doing it again. They're probably the team I feel the most confident about. But, look at the Colts. Look at Danny Dimes and what he's doing. I mean, there's legit, and this sounds crazy if you had said this 6 weeks ago, Daniel Jones is in MVP talk right now with where he's playing, which is wild. I mean, there was probably a New York Giants fan who hates Daniel Jones as much as Danny Healy hates Mac Jones.
There's more Danny Dimes haters in New York than there are.
There's one MVP. Who is he, Daddy?
Who do you got in mind?
Drake Maye. Feel the hype, baby. We just read the hype. Feel
Not
the
everyone
hype.
can have Drake Maye, so I feel bad for them.
I mean, it is. I think. Look, 5 weeks from now, it'll start to take even more shape. But it's pretty interesting right now. I think the Patriots are in a good spot because not only are they performing where they need to be, but when you look around the AFC, the teams that you might have been contending with for a wild card spot are dwindling.
Yeah, I would say if you looked at the AFC to start the year, right, we are probably putting Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore in that kind of big dog, big 3.
They're for sure going to win.
And if you were going to do the NFC, you were probably putting Philly, the Rams, maybe. Who else? I don't know in the NFC.
Look at the NFC. People thought the Vikings would be. They've completely fallen off. I mean, I know they won in London, but this is not what they were with Sam Darnold. So it's really Detroit. Philly has won games up until yesterday, but they haven't looked great.
No.
So, but the Bucks. I mean, the Bucks. I think.
I'm all in.
I am too. Baker's incredible. Egbuka's. They don't even have Mike Evans or Jalen McMillan.
Has Godwin been back?
He came back in the Philly game, but he's just his first week back. Yeah. Egbuka is a stud.
No, it's gonna like you said, Hoy. I think the next 5 weeks, which if you look at the Patriots schedule,
right,
it's very interesting.
But they got to bring it, like Milton Williams said,
like we
bring
said,
that shit
every week. So, yeah, let's go through it. Thanks, Danny.
Thanks to Sarah, but let's
that
go
was
through
Sarah.
it.
Shout out Sarah. Danny doesn't do it.
What do we even need Danny for?
You got Saints, which I think you would look at these next 4, and you should come out of this 4-0.
If they win the next 4 and we go into the Bucs game, and they are playing the way, that's going to be like
that's going to be
game of the year potential.
That might be a game to get flexed.
Yeah.
Maybe not with Thursday Night Football the next week. I don't think any team.
Yeah, you
does.
probably can't do that.
Yeah, I don't think.
That is the biggest strength for the Patriots right now is our schedule.
I would say this,
but it gets well now. I mean, you would say, oh, you don't want to play Ravens in December, and yeah, Lamar may come back, but if that's what their defense is and doesn't get any better, then you have a fair chance.
Let's play a little fun game.
All right,
here.
go ahead.
Get your fingers out.
Well, I don't know what that means.
Well, we're gonna count the wins.
Okay. All right, let's do it. Saints.
Yes.
Titans.
Yes.
Browns.
Yes.
Falcons.
Yes.
Bucks.
No.
I'm putting no.
But see, this is where to me, if they can beat the Bills, they can beat the Bucks.
I agree.
Okay,
but then you're going to go through this whole schedule,
all right,
and they're going to be
not
14
homers.
and 3.
Okay, no.
What's the record? 13-3-2.
They're 3-2.
So you're going to go through this whole schedule.
All right, so they're at 4 right now.
Yeah,
let's say they rattle off the next 4. They're 7-2.
Jets, yes.
Jets, yes.
Bengals, yes.
Yes.
Giants,
yes.
Bills.
I mean, they beat them in Buffalo, but this could be
a loss.
I'm going to call it a loss.
Call it a loss.
So that's 7. Ravens, yes.
Lamar back, I don't know.
I'm saying yes. The defense is
Let's
bad.
just not, for sakes to argument, let's say no.
No, I'm saying yes. You guys can say whatever you want.
Fine. I am at 7 right now.
I'm at 8. Jets, Dolphins, 10.
I'm at
13-4. I think if they get the Bucks or the Bills,
you should have seen the hate I got when I went on EEI and said the floor was 8, the ceiling was 11, and now you're saying 13 after one win.
I'm the hype man right now.
You already forgot the sign on the door from BB.
I'm just full. No, I mean, look, I agree with you. That's what I thought. I thought 8 to 11 wins was a good range for this team. Saying 11 off the gate, I just thought that was too much. But this is like what I said. I hate doing that before the year. Now we're seeing it. And if they do bring it every week, I'm all in.
Let's just
if they bring it every week, buy your Super Bowl ticket now. If they don't go, invoice Hoyer. Hoyer will pay you back. But yeah,
quarterback money.
Yeah, quarterback money.
You made the same amount as me.
So Hoyer's going to pay you back. I'll give you his email. Invoice him, buy tickets. We're all in. See you in San
Let's just say this. When we do this show, the Tuesday after the Falcons game, if they win the next 4 games, it's going to get real.
So then invoice you.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. All right. Well, that's a wrap. We've been all over the place here. I don't know. I feel good.
I'm glad we didn't have a guest today because we got to really
we got to get into
out.
it.
And we brought Danny in a little bit. It was like the old days.
I don't know. I think as fans right now.
Wait, we have to talk about one more thing before we close out. Like North Carolina, the whole thing, like not putting out anything about Drake Maye related.
All right, it's been a wrap, guys. See you next week.
What? You don't have to answer to him anymore. Danny.
Let's talk about it.
Can we just...
Let's talk about it.
I know you wanted to talk on this. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, Bill Belichick, there was a story on, I think, Monday morning that was UNC is not going to post any Drake Maye highlights. And that's usually what they do. Like a college that an NFL player plays well, they'll do like collaboration posts on Instagram of a quarterback, their old plays with UNC to Patriots plays. And it came out that Bill did not want any cross-pollination between.
Now, but I want to... So I saw Will Compton... He tweeted this out. I was like, wow, that's petty. And I responded this is like the shit my 6th grade daughter deals with. Don't be friends with this person because they were mean to me. But then someone responded and was like, oh, that's fake news because there was a clip of North Carolina. Was it after the fact they got called out? They started posting them, which makes it look even worse?
They saw the optics, were like, wow, this doesn't look very good for Bill, so let's start posting clips. And so they started posting everything.
Oh, my gosh.
And then their Hulu documentary, which, there was supposed to be a Hard Knocks, that got axed. They were filming this Hulu documentary through the season. They were going to release episodes later on. That got canceled today. So there's just a lot of that news coming out of Bill Belichick.
Not a lot of good news coming out of Chapel Hill.
I love Coach
Drake
Belichick.
Maye's the best news to be coming out of Chapel Hill.
I love Coach Belichick.
David, you're not on the team anymore, man.
Yeah, but I don't know. I have a great relationship with Coach, and he meant a lot to me. He helped me out a lot. So
Looks like there's a
he did for
sniper
me
on
too.
your head right now.
yeah, I hate seeing.
You're in the
what's
media
that.
now. You just hyped up a Super Bowl run, and now you're not gonna
because
just
we are
call it
going.
what it is. What it
Attaboy,
is.
Hoy.
We're
Get 'em.
going to the Super Bowl. But all right, well that's a wrap. Thank God. That's what are you laughing at?
You.
Why?
All right, just wrap it already.
I've been trying to wrap
All
it
right,
for
go
5
ahead.
minutes, but you two, it's just
Go
like
ahead.
what I deal with. is
Dude,
the
you're in the
text
media
message.
now. You're not a player.
Look, wrap. Appreciate everyone. Great episode. I think as fans, we have a lot to be excited for. You should be excited. You should be glued to your TVs when this team's playing. And unfortunately, because that's downgrading me, that hasn't been the product the last couple of years. And so I think we should be excited. You know, you got this kid at quarterback who's just playing his ass off. You know, the coaches, everything, like you said, the aura feels like there's some aura with this team. There's confidence. So, like I said, I think it's a huge week this week. Hopefully we're coming back in here this week, having another show like this, getting to chop it up and talk about the good.
Yeah, no doubt. So check us out on anywhere you find your podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and obviously on NBC Sports Boston on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. We will see you next week.
Shout out favorite people
The Hub.
in NBC Sports, the Hub today.
What'd you have today? Because mine got eaten.
Yeah, sorry.
I was hungry.
Yeah, Danny was hungry. That's what you get when you're late to the show. El Barco, I believe it's in the Back Bay. I had a cheeseburger taco.
Ooh.
Unreal. Go check it out. I've never been, so I'll have to add that to my list. But, Danny, you had fish, right?
Fish taco, very good.
They looked
Sorry,
very
Brian.
good. So,
Sorry.
awesome. El Barco. Shout out the Hub. Appreciate you guys. See you next week.